MovieWeb.com.
Hi, I'm Jamie Philbrook with MovieWeb.com, and we're here in Arcadia, California at the famous Santa Anita racetracks, getting ready to talk to the cast and crew of the brand new Disney film, Secretariat, based on the famous true life story of the world-famous horse that won the Triple Crown. I'm here with my friend Trolley and his trainer Mark, and here's what John Malkovich, director Randall Wallace, Kevin Connolly, and others had to say about the brand new film.
How would you like to see a horse being born?
Have you ever seen that?
What?
Colts stand up that fast.
Well, Mr. Lauren, what do you think?
I think he eats too much. He lays against the back of that starting gate like he's in the Caribbean.
Secretariat is not afraid, and neither am I.
Horse racing is unforgiving for housewives.
It's like every other multi-million-dollar gamble we housewives make every day. All right, then. Let's show them what you're made of.
Your character right away really notices something in Big Red from the moment he's born. Could you talk about sort of that connection?
Well, when Penny kind of recruited Lucian Lauren, she did and he did took long looks at the bloodlines. He of course was sired by a horse called Bold Ruler, who was a very, very speedy horse, but not someone with great stamina. Fantastic speed, but the mother had the X chromosome, which is what he took his enormous heart and stamina from. And I think they knew from the very beginning that provided he didn't have some kind of accident or some kind of terrible injury, that he could really be something. You know, he was so massive and powerful and fast, and he really had not just one gear, but probably two gears that other horses didn't have. At the Belmont, when he finished in that astonishing race, which is still the record, he was still accelerating. And Belmont's long. And he was still picking up, gathering speed. And that's a pretty amazing thing. And I think they knew early on. I mean, Penny Chenery risked everything on him.
Mr. Martin, Secretariat's beaten your horse twice now. What makes this race different?
Any good horseman will tell you that the Secretariat is built for speed and Sham is built for distance. But of course, Miss Tweedy believes that her horse has somehow magically inherited both.
Penny! What about all the attention Secretariat's getting? Covers of both Time and Newsweek.
Well,
Let me tell you something about all this talk about Super Horse. Sham broke the Derby record too. He ran the second fastest Derby, he ran the second fastest Preakness ever.
Any comments, Penny?
Well, I'd have to say I agree completely with Mr. Martin. His horse did run the second fastest ever.
Did you know much about racing, about horse racing? Did you have to do a lot of research to kind of get into that character?
As a fan, I always loved horse racing. I always, grew up going to the track. It was always something that was always fun to do. It was something we did as kids, and as a family, we'd go and have picnics and do that whole thing. What I learned a lot about was what goes into the horse racing prior. Just it's big business and it's big money and it's very serious thing, and people got a lot riding on it, So when you cut to the stands and you see those people celebrating in the winner's circle after the Derby and the Preakness, you have a better understanding of A, what they went through to get there, and B, how rare and how hard and difficult it is to have a winner of a horse, because they're just like anybody. They're just, they're animals. I mean, some days they don't want to run. You know what I mean? It's just like anything else. It's hard to really. It's hard to bet on horses. You can't really think of anything worse than bet. It's kind of the worst bet ever.
And your character actually says in the film, I'm not going to paraphrase it quite right, but it's something about I could have been a political reporter.
Well, that was something that Bill Nack was actually known for saying. He was writing about politics, but then he wanted to write about the other end of the horse, insinuating he got tired of covering a bunch of, bunch of horses.
Did that sort of give you some motivation behind his
character?
I
understood what it was, and he also had a great love for horses, and Bill Nack also, aside from the fact that I played him, I leaned on him more, not so much for, hey, you know, how do you walk, or how do you, as opposed to, he really helped create a picture of what the time was like.
You know, your character in this film, Eddie, is so different than what we are used to seeing you as Lafayette on True Blood. I was just curious if that was one of the reasons why you wanted to take this role, sort of show audiences a different side of you.
No. The benefit is that the audience will see a different side, or the audience will see that I'm a character actor, that I transform. But no, it was offered to me. I had nothing else to do. I liked the script, and I fell in love with Randall Wallace.
Could you tell me a little bit about, because Eddie has such a special relationship with Big Red in the film. It's such a bond that the two have. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it was strange to all those who were there at the time witnessing it, because they said he had a strange dialogue with the horse. They had their special language. He doted on the horse. He talked to the horse, knew the horse's mood, knew the spirit of the horse. Almost like human beings know each other, almost like a parent would know their child. And the bond had such emotional depth, as depicted by Bill in his book, and another book, that biography about Eddie, that they said that it was just almost a human connection between the two. So yeah.
Secretariat refusing to yield, driving forward. This is unbelievable. No horse can take this pace. Sham pushes forward to challenge for the rail.
Come on, man. Come on.
3/4 of Blitzkrieg, 109 and 4. 109 and 4. Secretariat and Sham locked in a deadly duel.
So obviously, your career, you've been involved with a lot of real-life stories, bringing them to the screen. What was it about Secretariat, about this story, that you felt needed to be told?
Well, I think that we're all looking for something that we can relate to as a hero. I am not moved, I'm not touched by heroes in capes. They're not heroes to me. You know, if bullets bounce off you in whatever way, if you have superpowers, it's not the same thing as being like us. You know, that you have the same fears, you have the same hopes, you have the same desire that your family love and support you. You know, and you have to turn around and say, you know, I wish you loved me. That would really be great. But I'm not running a popularity contest, I'm running a life, and I'm gonna be who I am. And that's what Penny did, and that's what Secretariat did, and that gives me goosebumps. And unless I feel them, I don't know how to give them to an audience. I mean, I believe Secretariat's a story, I mean, clearly it appeals to men as well as women, it appeals to children as well as grandparents. It's not something you suffer through for the sake of, you know, your partner or your child. You love it directly, you cheer for it directly. I think the only way that happens is if you believe it. If it's about more than this given time or place, that it's about something that's timeless. Like, how do we become that? How do we find that for ourselves where we've got the guts to run like Secretariat did? I think when he started his final race, the one we portray in the movie, I think he was running against the other horses at first. About halfway around, he was running against all other horses who ever lived. When he hit the finish line, I think Secretariat was running for the joy of running. And that's the thing that I want to find in my life. That's what I want the movie to say. It's like, live in joy. Life's too great not to live it from your heart.
Hey, there's Mom.
Now that you've gotten their attention, every owner, every trainer, every jockey out there is going to be trying to bring us down.
This is about life being ahead of you, and you run at it.
You're about to see something that you ain't never seen before.